Okay, welcome everyone. I'm Erika Voell. I'm a decision mentor and inner trust guide, and I write the Unfolding Substack and host the Unfolding Letters from the Middle of Becoming podcast. And I am so glad you're here with us today for our conversation, which is all about Summer of Self-Love. We're celebrating the Summer of Self-Love, and today we have one of the amazing women who agreed to be interviewed for this series, and these conversations were actually inspired by that. And we're exploring Summer of Self-Love because our inner voice is just as important as our outer voice, which we explored back in April. And we know that when we feel good inside, that we're going to feel confident, and that affects our outer voice. So today we are joined by Erika Sardinha, and she writes The Gentle Badass. So welcome, Erika. Tell us about you and what brought you to Substack.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Erika, for doing this whole series. I love reading about all of the other women that are in. I know you put in a lot of work, so thank you so much. It's been amazing. I am Erika. I am your coach for what's next. That's what I like to say. I work with women who have been through a lot, have done the work, and now they are ready to build the life that they want, but without self-neglect, self-sacrifice, and overworking themselves. I'm all about doing things the gentle way. So that's what I help my clients do, and everything inside of the Gentle Badass.
Oh, I love this.
Mm-hmm.
So we are talking about self-love today, and I just am very curious, like if you heard yourself talking out loud the way that your inner critic talked to you, if you were talking to a friend, like how would that, if you had overheard somebody saying that to you, what would you have thought?
Oh boy, I don't know. It's the same way when I look at young women and the way they talk about themselves and to themselves. First of all, a lot of compassion, because I've walked all these 20 years and 10 of those years were spent healing. But I would just feel a little bit of sadness for that young woman, because, self-love is one of those things that only you can give yourself. So I would probably just feel sad and tons of self-compassion, and I just want to give her a big hug and tell her that, everything is going to be all right. I was very self-critical, judged myself a lot, but that's what I've learned. A big hug. I think that's what I would do.
Mm-hmm. And so tell us about how you learned to talk that way to yourself. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I have learned that from family members and everyone that was around me, right? I have had a very traumatic childhood, and all of the experiences that I've had, not only what happened and what people told me, but what I saw around me, just made me believe that I was not lovable. So when you have your most loved, precious, the people that you admire the most, right, your caregivers, and they don't show you love, then you just assume that you are unlovable. So from that moment on, I just assimilated that I was unlovable. So how could I give myself love? So that's how I learned, unfortunately.
So how did the women around you talk about themselves? I'm curious about that, because I know for me, like I heard my mom criticize her weight constantly.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother was constantly criticizing other women in our family. And so that's what I learned. And then when I got older and I met some people and they were like, you're really hard on yourself.
Ooh, yeah.
It was like, isn't that how everybody talks about themselves? It was a real eye opener. So tell me about the women in your life. How did they talk about themselves?
I don't remember specifically how they talked about themselves, but I do remember them telling me in all sorts of ways that I wasn't enough. I did something that was, from top of my mind, now I remember that I did this game, like a word game with some friends, and I won, and I was so proud of myself, right? And I took it to my mom, and she was criticizing the lines that I did, So nothing was enough. right? And me being a Black woman as well, an immigrant, I was born in Angola, and then we moved to Portugal. It was always this message of you have to be better than everyone. Like you have to be twice as good. And even when you are good, you just have to. So everything that was all these beautiful parts of myself, my creative self, everything was just crushed, to the
Mm.
floor and even deeper. I don't remember exactly what they said to themselves, but thinking back, it's not like they were connected with themselves. It's not like these conversations were happening. It's not like they shared. I feel like they internalized a lot of these things and they just projected onto me. But I never heard them just speak out loud. Maybe a couple of comments. Oh my God, I'm so silly. I did this and that. But it wasn't that deep. I couldn't actually listen to what they were thinking about themselves.
Mm. And I know that your story about being an immigrant is not necessarily, I know a lot of people who have had immigrant parents and or have moved, like they're that having to be better and having to be the best, I
Yeah,
know is a story that carries through a lot of people who've been through that. So
yeah,
I just want to witness that for you.
yeah, yeah.
So in this interviews that I did with people, you shared a story that I just thought was so powerful, and it was in the shame article that came out this past week. Can you tell us about the when you experienced someone seeing you differently than you saw yourself, and like before you started to believe it, and what did they see, and then like what flipped for you, what changed for you, what did
Yeah,
you see?
that story, it was a huge shift. It's just like as something switched within me. So I have been healing, I don't know, for a couple of years from my trauma and everything that happened to me. And eventually I've decided that I wanted to spend some time in India, like for a month, to learn more about yoga and meditation. So I was staying at this ashram. We had this huge schedule. I don't know if you have been through an ashram and doing yoga and meditation. It's just like you wake up at like 6 a.m. and you meditate and you do the yoga. And then at like 3 p.m., there's always this gathering where we work on the philosophy of yoga, which is personal growth, basically, right? So I was sitting down with these women, and I don't remember exactly the words that I said, but one of them looked at, and when you have these moments and it looks like the world stops or you are just inside of that situation and you can't, because the room was so full, but that woman, she just looked at me dead in the eye and she was like, you are so hard on yourself. You don't act like you love yourself. And I didn't feel judged or anything. It was just like, oh, I thought I was, and I was starting to love myself, but I realized that self-love didn't click. I realized that I was just going through the motions and trying to be better and feel better, but I actually did not love myself. So that woman, I will thank her forever. She just held up a mirror, just right in my face, and she was like, "You don't love yourself. You don't act like you love yourself." And I was, yeah, that was very impactful to me. And yes, she saw that I could give myself more love and that I deserved better from
Mhm.
myself.
Mhm. And so then what happened for you in the journey after that?
Well, I mean, it has been a crazy journey, right? Because I've been through India. I wanted to learn yoga and meditation, but what I found was a lot of healing, a lot of tears, a lot of release. So obviously, this woman, she told me something, and then I was in this environment where we were just collectively healing together. We were swimming in the river, doing all sorts of rituals. So when I came back from that trip, first of all, I was decided, like determined to help other people. I was just, you know what, people need to know about this. People need to love themselves, be happy, release. And I was determined to change the relationship with myself because she made me aware that I did not have a good relationship with myself. So that's really when everything started because obviously I had so many things to heal that it started a little bit surface, and let's go back at the past and see what happened. And she made me see, okay, yeah, but your relationship with yourself, you need to fix it now, right? So, yeah.
Mm. Oh, I love that story so much. When I saw that, I was just like, oh my gosh. And it brought me back to when my first coach, I was her practice client, and like she saw something in me that I had never seen in myself. And I was like, wow, okay. And then as I worked with her, I was like, can I do that for people? Like it was a real turning point. So we talk about self-love, and like I think a lot of times it can get tangled up with self-care.
Yeah.
And like there are things that we do each day for ourselves that are, they would be labeled as self-care, but like really we do them because it's because we love ourselves and we're building that strong relationship with ourselves. So what is one thing that you do daily that is helping you practice self-love, even though it might not look like self-love on the outside?
Yeah, I love this question because you are so right. Sometimes, because self care, and I always tell this example about how I used to comb my hair, like, like I was beating myself up. Like, you can take care of yourself, like you're combing your hair and you're being really rough, or you can love yourself and actually do all of these things with love. So, really, just like be patient with yourself no matter what you are doing, right? Because I can be doing my yoga and not connected, not listening to my body. So what I try to do is when I give myself that time in the morning, I'm a big proponent of having like a morning routine. Just really give myself that time. Really leading to, obviously it's not perfect, we're always evolving and there are bad days. But what I try to do is really do things with love and from a place of love, because we can all do self-care and go to the spa and hang out with our friends, but it's more of the energy and the intent that you are doing behind it, because you can do all of that and still don't love yourself, like I was doing, before I went on this trip to India, that showed me that I was just, going through the motions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm. And when I read that your, the way you comb your hair and the way you brush your teeth, I was like, oh, I never thought of that. Like I knew that there were practices that I did each day. Like I do a very simple lymphatic massage on my face at night, but that when I read that in your interview, I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm just like taking some time for myself because it feels good, but it's also like, I love you. I love you.
Yes,
Like
yes.
just, and I've been doing a meditation and I want to acknowledge all the people that are here. So Jen and Teresa, and like, thank you all for being here. I found this meditation from Sarah Blondin, and I don't know how many of you love Sarah Blondin, but this one is like, I love you, I am listening. And it has just, I'm going to put a link to it in the notes for this interview, but I'm also going to write an article about it. But like, that has been so powerful to be like, I love you, I am listening, because it's just putting your hand on your heart is so powerful.
I'm taking notes. I love it. I love you. I'm listening. I love it.
Yeah. So how have you started to see yourself differently? And like, has anyone, as you've done this journey, has anyone noticed you differently? Did they say anything, or like just how you feel and how they treated you? Have you experienced that?
Tremendously, tremendously. At the beginning, this is so funny. I had these friends that I used to hang out all the time, and I have decided that I was going to start doing things that make me happy. And I just, I changed many things completely. So I had this friend that told me I loved you better when you dot, dot, dot.
Oh my God.
And I was like, well, I'm happier now. So I don't know what to do about that. So it was this, I will never forget it. This was even before I started the healing. It was just when when you start doing things where you're like, no, this is not how I want to do things. And then so people started noticing. So I encountered a lot of pushback because I was surrounded by people that, treated me badly. I was a people pleaser. So I found a lot of pushback. And then on the other hand, I found a lot of love and a lot of respect. I was always afraid of being myself around people. And I just, and I felt so that I didn't have enough people that loved me, right? Probably that was a lie, I don't know. But at the same time, when I started actually showing up as myself, I found more love and more. And I was like, oh my God, that's so stupid. I could have been myself all along. Like people like me the way that I am.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The amount of shape shifting we do as women to make people like us. And then when we stop, like I know that my clients have experienced this. I've experienced this too of like, we liked you better. And it's like, oh, you liked me better when you could walk all over me.
Mm-hmm.
But also there are people that like there are people who've just come out of the woodwork and I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
just because I've dropped that trying to put on that mask and I feel like I have more authentic connections with people. It's so fascinating how
Yeah.
much time and effort we put into shape-shifting to be people pleasers, but then we're like not loving ourselves because we're trying to be somebody that we're not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would love to know for you, like, for a lot of women, perimenopause brings up a lot of things, and there's like these old patterns that we've been in.
Yeah.
What were some old patterns that were related to self-love
Mm-hmm.
that you're like, I'm not doing them anymore, or you're just making some changes? And what did you do? What happened for you? And then what did your body, I guess I should have asked this part first. Like, did your body do anything to get your attention beforehand? And then like, what were some of those old patterns and what happened for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's just a big question. That's a big question. Let me see where I can start. One of the things that I've stopped doing was putting everyone before me.
Mhm. Mm.
I handed back the responsibility to other people for their own lives. I can support, but I can't live your life for you. Like you have to. And being the oldest child, I've carried a lot of responsibilities, especially from the household that I come from, where I had a lot of responsibilities. I just continued living my life with these responsibilities. And I'm 40 now. It's been in these late 30s that I've actually cut some cords
Mhm.
and said very clearly, I am not available for that anymore.
Mm.
And about my body, I feel like this work that I have done and the yoga, I'm very connected with my body. So before I wasn't as connected. So, just overworking, right? Working too much, trying to prove my worth, showing up when I should be trying to show up for myself. I did all of these things. And right now, I just feel my body when it doesn't matter if it's about work, if it's about meeting other people. I used to be a little bit more, I'm going to please. It's okay. I'm just going to hang out with this person a little bit. But right now, it's just my body just tells me no. And I'll be like, it's a no. Yeah, I got rid of a lot of people pleasing. A lot. I don't
Yeah,
know if I answered your question.
you did. And I have your human design. So like
Oh,
that brings up that leads us really beautifully into the next part. Um, so as part of this summer, I have been identifying the parts of human design that I know are related to self-love. And this is not part of the traditional human design teachings. This is my own interpretation, so I want to be very clear about that with everyone. But I looked at your chart and there were a couple of things that came up for me that I'm really curious about. So the first one is there, I'm looking at some of the gates, which are the numbers on the sides. And for you, I'm curious how these showed up for you. So I'm going to read you all three of them, and then we could talk about them individually. You can talk about them as a group. So for one of them, the shadow or the challenge side is that your emotions are too much, and then that leads you to shaming yourself because you feel like you're being too vulnerable.
Yeah.
The next one is that you don't want to say things too fast because you think, oh, if I say that, I'll get rejected. I might sound stupid. And then the next one, so these are like what the inner critic sort of tells us, and these are innate, unfortunately, and fortunately, they all carry a gift too.
Yeah.
So, and then this other one is, I will relax when everything is done. There's too much to do. I should be more productive. The fun can wait. So tell us about how we can talk about them individually, or you can talk about them as a group. Like, tell us how these have come up for you.
Yeah, I think let's go individually because probably a lot of people can relate to this, I think.
Okay.
So the part of like emotions are too much. Oh my God. I am a sensitive person. It is what it is. I am a very sensitive person. Since I was a little kid, I'm just sensitive. I'll see an old person and I'll be like sad and I'll help them and, I'll carry their bags. I was like this since a little kid. I could sense other people's emotions. And I feel that where I grew up, it was a problem, right? Because you don't want a little child just being like, just serving as a mirror and being like, that wasn't good, you should be doing this. And so what I have learned throughout the years is that there's nothing wrong about being sensitive. And I know that a lot of times people will try to turn that on you and being sensitive is a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. I remember when I was having a conversation with my partner years ago, and he was like, oh, you're being so sensitive. And I was like, yes, I am being sensitive because I am being mistreated. So if I'm not being mistreated, then I will not feel so sensitive, right? Because the rest of the time I'm good. So I just learned to just honor those parts of myself and just let emotions be okay, because emotions are okay. But it's sometimes it is too much. I'm not gonna lie. To feel everything is a gift, because you can come up to me and tell me what you're feeling and I'll understand. I'll totally understand. But yeah, sometimes it does feel a little bit too much, and that's when I use self-regulation and ride the wave of emotions. You probably saw it in my design that I have very emotional.
And I love that you said that, like, I'm being too sensitive. I'm not being too sensitive because I'm being mistreated. I think that's a big thing for so many of us. Is like, you're saying something horrible to me, and like, I'm not being too sensitive. I'm not going to take that from you. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was.
Yeah. I tell this sentence everyone so they can use it. Like, go ahead and use, because people use it against you. It's not because you have emotions, because some people will probably take it and just assimilate it, internalize it, and just it will eat them away and they will not do anything. But I will externalize my emotions. Thank God I learned how to do that. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and you have an emotional center. For those of you who know human design, she has an emotional center that's connected to her throat. So this is really, getting those emotions out is really important. And she goes through emotional waves. I feel you. I feel you deeply. I do too. I have this same gate of like being, there can be some shame that shows up because you're like, I don't know if you've had this experience where you share very deeply with somebody and then you're like, Brene Brown calls it the vulnerability hangover, and you're like,
Mm.
oh, what did I do? I shouldn't have
Mhm.
said that.
Yes, a few times, a few times.
So let's go into the next one that, like, I don't want to say that because I'll be, what if I'm rejected or maybe I
Mm.
sound stupid? And
Mm.
stupid is like not necessarily the word, that's the
Yeah.
word that I came up with, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the word that you might use. So tell us about how that one shows up for you.
Yeah, when I talk about the people pleasing that I got rid of, most of it, obviously, I'm still working on it. It's that bit. It's that bit of not wanting to say things clearly because of how it will come off. And and this has been recent work. This has been in the past year that I'm working on this because it showed up even like in my emails
Mm.
because I want to please everybody. Because, that was my excuse. I want everybody to feel good. But at the end of the day, I was just like hiding my voice and not saying things. I realized that the way I say things helps people, supports people, right?
Mhm.
I'm not a bad person. So when I speak, I try to be already conscious about it. So that was a problem that I had, and it was sabotaging me. It was sabotaging my business as well. Because at the end of the day, when you do business, you have to say what you think. You have to say, right, and just raise your hand so your tribe can come to you. So
Mhm.
what I was doing, I was just toning down a bunch of things, and then I was attracting the wrong people because guess what? You're not talking like as yourself. So yes, huge work that I've done this year on this, and it's worth it because I've seen the difference. I've seen the
Mm.
difference in the conversations that I am having. But yeah, definitely struggled with this as well.
And for those of you who don't know Erica, she does this Tuesday tea, which I just love. I'm like, yes, yes. Like her Substack is the gentle badass, but like these are super powerful. I want to encourage you to like subscribe to her and follow them. They're so good.
Thanks.
And I feel like
Yeah.
those are bringing this part out of you.
Yes, yes, because I wanted to write something that was like the unhinged version of myself. I'm
Mm.
not editing. I'm not thinking, oh, this should be. Of course, I make it helpful. I share like a recipe, right? There's always a tea. I drop the tea and then I share the recipe to help everybody who reads the tea. But I just bring my unhinged self, and it's things that need to be said. And sometimes we are thinking about it. For example, this working hard and pleasing people. Sometimes we feel it in our hearts that it's not good for us, that it doesn't align, but we just need that validation, that confirmation. So I'll just talk about it just openly. Yeah, and I'm so glad that you like it. I enjoy so much. Tuesday tea is my favorite thing ever.
Love it. So then tell us about the inner critic showing up in this other one where it's like, I'll relax when everything else is done. I
Yeah.
haven't earned a break. I need
Hmm.
to be more productive. Tell us how that one shows up for you.
Yeah, and then you realize you have a business and not everything will get done ever in your life for
Mhm.
the rest of your life. but, but yeah, I mean, the gentle badass is it's all about this thing about being a badass, right? But also being gentle. I've all the whole thing that I've created is based on my experiences and how I go around it, and then I help people with that. Because yes, I've always been very driven and everything, but eventually you have to stop. Eventually you have to rest. And I didn't know the meaning of rest.
Mm.
I took in jobs where, I moved to Spain. I live in Spain right now, and I lived in the Canary Islands for 11 years. And when I got there, like I didn't speak Spanish, it was just a whole adventure. And I took in some jobs where I just had one day off, per week, and and I just didn't have a life. And I just thought that was the normal thing to do. And then I just realized my value, I can do different things, and eventually I got, a teaching job and my life improved. But yes, always this feeling, and again, being an immigrant, right? And seeing my mom work night shifts, and then 4 more hours in the morning, and then not having enough money, right? That should be enough of a sign to know that it's not about working hard, that it's not about it. But I've assimilated it as I cannot rest, right? And knowing that I also have the gate, I can only imagine like my poor mind years ago trying to deal with this. But yeah, I struggled with this. And sometimes I do have some days. I had this weekend a few weeks ago where I've decided that I wasn't going to work, but I was thinking about work the entire freaking day. And then it comes Monday and I'm like, you didn't work, you didn't rest.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but yeah, it's way better now, but it's this constant like conversation and self-love, right? Self-love and compassion, and having that awareness that, we have this tendency, and just try to love myself and parent myself a little bit so I don't go overboard.
Yeah. And for those who know human design, she has an undefined root center, which carries with it this sense of urgency and like things are never done. And I grew up in a household where like my mom and my sister and my dad all had this undefined, and I have it defined, and I'm like, it can wait for later. And they're like, oh, but we got to do this now. And they all have like not perfect houses, but like pretty clean houses. And like my house is just the way it is. And
Love that.
it's lived in, and it drives my mom crazy, but like all of us in our household have it defined, and we're just like, it's okay. Like when we have a deadline, we'll do it, but it doesn't need to be perfect. So, well, thank you for diving into those with me. I love seeing human design in action. And so tell us do you use human design with any of your clients? Or is it just something you've been using for personal development? And
I'm sorry, I'm just running from the sun.
That's okay.
Just the entire life running from the sun. I'm so sorry. But about human design, I love human design. I'm fascinated by human design, but I don't use it with my clients. It's something that it's a tool that I use for myself. I recently had a coach helping me out, and it was so good. It was transformational because she helped me just use my voice a little bit more, just put myself a little bit. And it coincided with the thing that I realized about the people pleasing. I think I wrote about it in the T, that I was like, oh, I'm still people pleasing. What the hell am I doing? Why am I editing my emails so much? So she really helped me with that. And I just love human design as a tool, but I don't use it with my clients. I use different tools. I mean, if they want to know a little bit, I'll tell them. But yeah, if you're looking for a human design expert, I'm not an expert, but I absolutely love it.
So tell us about your work right now. What are you building? And yeah, that's the question. That's it. The next question. I was like, wait, what? So tell us about what you are working on right now.
Yes, I am so excited. I have opened my Gentle Badass Academy here inside of Substack. So the Gentle Badass Academy is for this woman who has done a lot of work, right? She's done a lot of work, but she knows that she wants to build something. Because what happens to a lot of us is that we stay in the thinking mind, or we try to go things the hard way, right? So inside of the Gentle Badass Academy, what we do is I help you build the life that you want day by day. And now I'm having the most fun ever. We're having a 21-day challenge called Make the Move. And so every week I'm dropping audios, we have trainings, and it's just been amazing. I'm very excited. I already have 10 women inside. I'm like, this is amazing. So everyone who wants to check it out, just go ahead and check it out if it aligns with you. But I'm very excited about the Academy. I've been wanting to do a membership since forever. It's been 2 years that I already knew I want to do the Gentle Badass. It's going to be an academy. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have the hub. And then when I joined Substack, I was like, this is where the academy is going to go.
Ooh.
I was so excited. So this is what I'm working on, and then obviously I have one-to-one clients. If anyone wants to know more about that, they can always DM me.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for you and for that it's coming together in Substack. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, I love it here. I love Substack. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love that I am meeting people all over the world and my daughter says, "Mom, where are your friends?" And I'm like, "Well, one's in the UK and one's in New Zealand and one's in Germany." And it just doesn't quite, she's 12. It doesn't quite register for her that that's possible. That I
Yes.
can talk to people all over the world and call them friends. And I love Substack. I love the community aspect of it that I did not
Yeah.
feel on
And it's
Instagram.
and it's so healthy, right?
Mhm.
I was talking to someone, she's been following me for years, and I was like, oh my God, just go on Substack. And she was like, do I have to download the app? And I told her, no, you don't, but download it because it's amazing. You're going to love it there. It's so good.
Yes, and when I can't sleep at night, it's like I'm reading articles and I'm like, I gotta stop. I gotta stop.
Exactly.
So one question I love to ask my podcast interviewees and on Substack. So what is one unwritten rule of midlife that you would like to rewrite?
This whole thing of like slowing down and just retreat somewhere. Like, what are we talking about? That makes zero sense. That makes zero sense. We are the most powerful, we are the most unapologetic as we get older. And if we just, grab all that and use it to just empower other people or just do it ourselves, and also all of these things about just you have to dye your hair, you have to pretend you're young. No, no, like I completely just, for me, it's just like, no. I'm all for being ourselves at any age, and 40 is young, 50 is young, 60 is young. I mean, life is long. So, and now that we have all of this confidence and everything, we're supposed like to retreat and just, what? No.
Oh my gosh, Erica, this has just been such an amazing conversation. Thank you so much. And I am just going to say, I don't get to tell you that I'm so grateful because Substack doesn't let me talk to you afterwards, but I want to tell you, thank you for being part of this. Thank you for everybody who joined us live. I'm so grateful for all of you. And I love that all of you are helping make this summer of self-love bigger and more impactful than I ever thought it would be. I thought, oh, we'll just write about self-love and I'll ask people questions, and it just has blossomed into this amazing thing. So thank you for being part of it, Erica. I really appreciate it. And for everybody who's commenting and reading the articles and restacking. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your summer. And I will be, excuse me, this series is going to last until, I don't know, early September. I can't quite figure it out because more things keep coming and I'm just so excited about it. And also, I have 2 workshops that I'm hosting for paid subscribers that you can become a paid subscriber. You'll get the 2 workshops. They are on self-love and they are weaving in human design into them. And so this is all brand new content for me, excuse me, that I am developing and based on the human design system. But this is something I feel very passionately about. And I know that learning that the second half of my life is about self-love is just changed everything for me. So if you're a paid subscriber, you'll get access to these 2 workshops at the end of July. I think it's July 30th and at the end of August. And then I have a super special thing that is coming at the end of August, all related to this summer that I just am geeking out about. And I shared a sneak peek of it with somebody and she's like, oh my gosh, Erika, this is amazing. So I'm so excited to share it with you if you're a paid subscriber. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Erika. Have a great one.